Good morning, everyone. Let's see if I can pull a rabbit out of my hat. And by that I mean, let me consult the old book here. Ah, da 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 dee 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 dee. Well, this is. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, we'll stick with the subject that I have the most notes on, which apparently is the well, maybe Lisa Vanderpump centric, because I did watch her new show with Gordon Ramsay, and the premise is very much a combination of the Apprentice and Top Chef, I'm guessing. And so far, it was appealing. The first episode was very appealing. My only comment to LVP, who you guys know is one of my favorite, is ditch the ridiculous shoes. You trying to walk a straight line in 16 heels looked stupid. I mean, you looked ungainly. I don't even know if that's a word, but there's no reason you should be wearing 6-inch heels. Get a better shoe where you can walk naturally, thereby have more gravitas than the current pair of shoes that you wore in that episode. That's just my opinion on that. So far, so good. It's going to depend on the people who are cast, of course. Are you going to root for somebody? Are you going to hate somebody? Um, if her appearance with Gordon Ramsay on Watch What Happens Live was any indication, there's going to be a lot of chemistry between the two hosts. And I hope that keeps it up, because, boy, I'd love to see her get a real hit. The show she has on Hulu, which I think is Vanderpump Manor or Chateau, it's a little too much of the same thing. It's got the Vanderpump Rural cast, struggling 20-somethings who want to make it in Hollywood, get cast in a Vanderpump reality show, get to go to France and live in the chateau and, have reality TV drama. It's kind of like we've seen it a million times before, a little bit. Speaking of the originator of Vanderpump Rule, 20-something cast, who are now, all knocking on 40. And this is going to be my unpopular opinion. This is going to be something that I introduced in the last session. I'm going to call it my unpopular opinion. I think, and let me start by saying, anybody who's watched the show over the years has cringed with James Kennedy every time. Not every time, he was drunk all the time, and one of the nastiest drunks you've ever seen. Really vicious. And we've seen him act out physically. I mean, there was the time he made a big production of spitting on Kristen Doute's door. And then there were inferences, dark inferences, when he was going out with Rachel, who at the time was known as Raquel. And remember, she had to get that second nose job because something had hit her nose. And I thought she looked very uncomfortable by claiming on camera, oh, James didn't do it. Well, I absolutely wonder, because there were a lot of rumblings this year about James Kennedy being exposed as being the violent abuser that he is. As anybody as nasty a drunk as he is, that's not even a stretch to imagine that he's violent as well. So my unpopular opinion is that he has been protected from this coming out by Lisa Vanderpump. And the reason for that is Lisa Vanderpump is one of the reasons he was able to come on the show. She apparently was familiar in London with his parents. He was friendly with her son Max, and in fact there was one season he and Max were on the outs because he had one of his verbal violent, diarrhea of the mouth incidences with LVP's son. Called him fat and lazy and this, that, and the other thing. I'll tell you what, you do that to my son, and I'm the reason you have any sort of job. Guess what? You don't have a job anymore, and you're off my show. Why she continued to protect him, I don't know, but I think she's doing it to this day. And I think him prancing around as though he's the number one guy on the show. More on that in a second. Um, I think if there's something there, we got to know if there's something there, because like I said, there were a lot of dark rumblings about it this year, and I think the reason we didn't find out more is because he's being protected. Speaking of the number one guy in the show, well, everybody knows that it was originally uttered by Jax Taylor back in season 2 or 3 of Vanderpump Rules. He was having a fight with Tom Sandoval. Sandoval evidently was flexing his muscles, and Jax, slammed him down by saying, "Hey, listen, pal, I'm the number one guy on the show," which of course was hilarious. And but it's now a catchphrase. It's one of the many, many Bravo catchphrases that are out there, along with "close your legs to married men," and I mean, really, the list goes on and on. Clip from Dorinda. I mean, we should do a list of all the catchphrases. But anyway, the catchphrase number one guy on the show is one that usually brings a smile to anybody, any Bravoholic's face, because we all think of Jack Taylor. Well, apparently, the New York Times yesterday, in their style section, I believe it was, yeah, New York, in their style section, did a thing on the new number one guy in the group, West from Summer House. While I'm very happy for his fame, and I agree, he and the casting of he and Jesse Solomon on Summer House is just a fantastic addition. But the reason it's a fantastic addition is because they're new. They don't. Their livelihood does not depend upon the camera. But with the type of praise that is being heaped on both of them, they will very shortly be depend on everything, on being accepted back into the camera, staying on the show, staying staying fresh. And I just hate to see it, because he really is a nice guy, and so is Jesse Solomon. You can't have this type of praise heaped upon you. An article, a feature article in I didn't actually see it because I don't have an online subscription to the Times, but I don't know how in depth the article was or how short it was, but my God, from obscurity to a feature in New York Times, that's heady, heady stuff. I don't know how you survive that. I don't know how you keep your feet on the ground. I just hope he's able to do that, because he is a very appealing guy. And I will just say one thing on his relationship with Ciara, if I may. Like Ciara, she, in my estimation, is one of the more beautiful women on the whole Bravo channel. But she's a little, I'm not going to say the word damaged, because I don't want to give Austin Crawl, or whatever his name is, from Southern Charm, I wouldn't want to give him that much power. But she certainly was led a dance by Austin, and made to look a little foolish. Austin is the ultimate F boy, and she got drawn into that drama. And so she's a little hesitant. I get it. But the way she is not communicating with West as to why she's reticent in establishing their relationship further, I think is a mistake. Her reasons are very legit. This is, again, another message to women. Like the last time I told you, all women, make sure you control your own money. You don't go to bed with a guy unless you have some sort of assurances of his feelings. That's how it was back in my day. You never slept with a guy on the first date. You never slept, you just didn't. There's just none of that crap. And the women who who claim that that's okay. I've never seen it hold true. They're all holding out for a relationship. They want to be special. They want a guy. They want a guy that's theirs and theirs alone. They really don't want to be indiscriminately sleeping all over the place. They can claim they do, like Lindsay Hubbard did a couple of summers ago, but you'll never convince me that's true. But Ciara has come right out and said that she's not going to further relationship with West until he gives her some sort of confirmation of his affection. Absolutely, 100% Ciara, behind you 100% on that. Every woman should be thinking that way. Um, is it the old don't give away the, the milk or the cow or something like that? I guess so. But she's not communicating that clearly to West. I think West would react positively to that, or he might not. He might say, "Hey, you're right. I thought you were looking for something a little more casual." Well, she's not looking for something a little more casual. She's looking not to be made a fool of again, and she's not communicating that clearly to you. So that still needs to be developed. Okay, so I did the James Kennedy. Okay, let's go on to talked about Summer House and we talked about Vanderpump Rules. Now I want to go on to the Valley. Three things here I have on Valley. No, four things actually. While Jax Taylor tends to suck the oxygen out of the room in every scene that he's in because he's a vet at this. He knows how to stir that pot. And he was banished from the kingdom for a couple of years, and now his chance to come back, and he's not going to screw it up, and he's doing a great job. The other person in that same boat, of course, is Kristen Doute, who was banished from the kingdom. She took LVP on, and LVP, quickly had her kicked to the curb, and she was kicked off the show. She's back on the show. She does stir the pot. She's very often misunderstood, and through her own actions. I mean, she really brings all this drama on her head herself. But the one thing she does that I just do not understand, and I'm hoping after she has watched this season, she will get it. Kristen, please, I'm begging you, wear a bra. Your boobs may have been great in your 20s. They're kind of. The fact that you don't wear a bra makes them look like they're kind of hanging down to your knees a little bit there. Shaw those babies up. Get a sports bra, something easy. But going braless for you, no es bueno. Please think about it. Um, the other thing that I found very interesting in this week's episode is the men. They were all off on a trip to Big Bear, which I guess is a mountainous resort area in California, maybe similar to Lake Tahoe or on the same vein as Lake Tahoe. And the women tend to gather together and talk about their things, and the men went off and did their things. One of the things the men did, they were going to go out on a day of fishing. Well, they meet their Captain Jack, they get on the boat, they have all their red cups and their food and drink and all that stuff. But as far as I could tell, they didn't do any fishing because all they did was talk. But they had serious talks about serious things. And they really delved into where they were having trouble in their relationship. And I don't think they were posing for the camera. I may have been wrong. I may be wrong on that, but it seemed to me, wow, these were substantive conversations they were having. Very unusual, something you don't see in the older casts that have been around 100 years. Um, so I hope they're able to continue in that vein because these are all couples except for there is Zach, who's gay, and there is this other woman, and forgive me, I don't know her name, but I think she is also, I think she's a lesbian. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, the rest of the cast, for all intents and purposes, are young marrieds, most of them with kids or just about to have kids. And some of them are in trouble. Some of their relationships are in trouble, and they had real conversations about it. Wow, it was very interesting to watch. Speaking of Zach, who I mentioned was the gay guy, I hope they keep him forever because this guy is messy boots, messy, messy boots. His hair is also, somebody was saying his hair was Lego hair. It's just like this square box on top of his head. And he's a lot of fun and he's a lot of mess. The other thing that the final thing on the Valley is now that the Vanderpump Rules crew knows that the sun might be setting on them. Some of the cast are making every move they can to buy houses in the Valley and hopefully be cast on them. Lala Kent is the one that's coming to mind. I hope the Valley sticks to their guns. You don't need Lala Kent. We've seen her for 10 years. We know what her story is. She's not going to come up with anything new. And this is what I mean. See, they got on these shows. They only have a certain shelf life, and they didn't make any plans for their career. Now Lala Kent, who lives very high on the hog, is going to have to figure something out. And one of the things that the Vanderpump Rule cast did was they are starting to open their own bars and sandwich shops and things like that. This something about her started by Katie Maloney and Ariana. $16 sandwiches for something that, from what I've seen, shouldn't cost any more than $7.50, $8 maybe. $16, people ain't gonna pay that very often. You may have 1 or 2 years with the novelty of it, people coming in, but after that, you're not gonna have much more. Just my 2 cents on that one. So no Lala on the Valley, and the $16 sandwiches, I'm not gonna pay it. All right. Oh, and no, I don't think I'm gonna bring that up. I don't think I'm gonna bring that up. We'll maybe do it. I'll see that as that she's gonna come out with her new season, and I will flesh that out later. So anyway, that's all I have today. Thank you so much for joining in. As I say all the time, and I don't say, well, I don't say it as much as I should. If you like what you saw, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Anything you do will help me grow my numbers with the powers that be in YouTube land. And thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time. Thanks.